Hi everyone, this is Marci. Can you tell me if you can hear me better now? I went up to my main computer and I turned everything up high. Yes? Can everybody hear me now? I don't want to start if you can't hear me well. Okay, you can hear me a little better. I'll try to yell because I don't know. This is the latest iPad. I'm not sure why it is low. Okay, this is what we're going to do tonight. I'm calling it Scrap It Simple because we're going to do a layout similar to my example. I will be making some changes to it just to show you that this is a basic layout. We're using a blocking style. And the reason that I got this idea was because of the kit. The kit came, the October kit from ScrapbookingStore.com came with a lot of these cards. I cut them all. I cut the sheet all apart into all the cards. And I thought, let's do the blocking style with that. It's really cute. It's really versatile. And I want to show you my completed page. Of course, it's my grandsons, Brian and Talon. Last year we were making these brownie. We didn't use brownies. We used Oreo cookies. And this particular page, I used 3 photos. Okay, I used one. I used this, the photo of the 2 boys, which is obvious, and then the photo that's from Pinterest of what we were supposed to be doing, and I made alterations to it. This is a basic blocking style, and you can do make adjustments to it accordingly. If you've been paper crafting, scrapbooking for a while, you know that there is no one way to do a page. You can do anything you want. I challenge myself to, when I get a collection like I did with this October collection, which was Halloween, I challenge myself to pretty much just use the collection. I'll show you in a few minutes that I lay it all out on my table and I just work with it. I might add some twine, I might add my own title cut on the Silhouette Cameo, but I challenge myself to utilize what I have in front of me. Can't find half of the other things because I have so much stuff here, as you can see in the background. So it's a lot easier and less stressful to just work with a certain amount of supplies. I didn't do any mixed media on this. I just did I wanted to show you that I'm just going to do a simple scrapbook page. You can adjust it on mine. I have 6 blocks, but you could certainly put 9. You could cut them down smaller. You could put 12, and then you just make adjustments accordingly. So I'm not going to do it identical to this, but I'm going to do it close to this. The basic layout will be this page. I can see the comments a little bit that are coming up. I say hello to everybody and thanks for coming. I will go back to the post when the Facebook Live ends and I will answer any questions that you have about anything. If you have any questions, because people come in and out and don't always hear everything that's being said. So if you want to know what I'm using, just go ahead and ask and I'll come back and you can come back to the video and I will answer those comments. So I'm going to take 1 second, 10 seconds probably, and I'm going to turn the camera. So bye, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy seeing how this layout is made. Okay, let me just turn the camera down. Okay, everybody. Hi, thanks for joining us. And what I did was, first of all, I want you to see this mat that I'm using tonight. I have a lot of different mats. I love them all for different reasons. But the mat that I'm using tonight helps. I mean, using a mat like this, or even the pink one in the background, or I usually use the Tim Holtz glass mat, is that it helps you to keep things symmetrical. If you're anal like me, I like everything straight, clean. So this helps. Now this one is by We Are Memory Keepers, and it came with these magnets. And the magnets hold the paper down and hold the paper straight. Hopefully you can see that. And that helps tremendously. It also comes with a magnetic ruler, you know, that will make things straight for you too. Now what I did was you can use in this October collection, you can use any of the plainer paper in the background or not if you like pattern, but I thought everything else was busy enough. So I used one of the plainer sheets. I took this sheet and I just cut strips because, as you see in my layout here, I made a border, a frame, and a border around the square pieces that I use, just to add some interest and dimension. I use a lot of pop dots on this, and again, I was trying to use a lot of the collection. You can also see that I lay out a lot of what I'm going to be using so that I can pick and choose. Did everybody download the cut files? Because this is my cut file pile over here. And I definitely use, and I will use again on this layout, the title. And then I'll pick some of the other things from the cut file to use on this layout. So again, mine won't be exactly like this one. Another reason that it won't be exactly like this one is because I got this picture on Pinterest, because this is when I went to babysit my grandsons. I wanted to make these last year, a week before Halloween. I used Oreo cookies instead, and I used real googly eyes that were edible. So I improvised on this photo. You can put more photos here if you want. Like I said earlier, you can cut them down smaller and put 9 photos on there. But on the layout we're going to do tonight, I obviously in the collection I don't get more than one of these, so I have different pieces to use. But also I journaled. Instead of putting the photo, which explains this whole layout right here, I did a journaling block for this page that we're going to be doing tonight instead of this photo, so it explains the story. Now the story is the most important thing. That's what they tell you, basic scrapbooking 101. You're really supposed to use your own handwriting. You won't see me doing that because I just don't like it. Okay, so the first thing that you do here is I set up my base page. I pick out my background paper. I do anything on the background paper that's going to be literally in the background. So my base layout is pretty much the background work. When I'm done with the background work, then I add all the embellishments. So doing my base would include any mixed media if you wanted to use stencils, pastes, watercolors, any of those things. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm making this a simple scrapbook layout. You could make it as complicated as you want by adding various embellishments afterwards. But if you set up your base, then embellishing a little bit when you're done, or a lot bit when you're done, becomes, I think, easier. So I do have, and I am anal, and I do have to lay this out evenly. So I lay out what I'm going to use on my page, and then I move them to straighten them. I don't measure per se. I just, lay them out and adjust them on the paper to make sure they're straight. Now, I journaled here. I typed it up, and I printed it, and I matted it with 2 different colors, just solid cardstock. But there are also included in the kit, you could have used this for journaling. There were several journaling cards. So I cut them all up and decided which ones I was going to use. So I'm laying them down on my base, but I'm going to do some adjusting. And if you notice, with the polka dots in the background, it actually, since they're in straight lines, it actually helps you to line these up. It helps you to keep everything straight. So I'm trying to make it straight over here, and then I'm trying to make it straight this way. And if my sister-in-law is watching, she'll be laughing because I'm crazy anal when it comes to this stuff. I don't want to keep you all night, so I'm not going to be crazy anal here. So I have them down. Now, do you have an ATG? Do you have 60-yard rolls instead of the 36 you buy at the store? Because you can find them online, 60-yard rolls. Well, I use the ATG almost every place that I can use it. I try it on the smallest things. I will break down and use some liquid glue also, which I have here to use on some of the smaller embellishments. But I really try to use that ATG. I'll tighten some of the things up later, but I want to get everything down. And again, I don't want to keep you forever and a day here. I want to keep you watching. Okay. And again, those polka dots help me to line this up. So I'm just putting down my cards. And this is a basic block style of scrapbooking. And I think it's very versatile because you can move, you know, the ATG, when I put these down, I don't put too much on the back because if I want to move things around, if they're not quite straight, you usually can lift them back up for a little period of time. Like I'm doing right now because this one isn't straight. But they do lift right up. I'm going to forgive myself for being a little bit crooked tonight since I'm trying to demonstrate this. Okay. So there's your basic block style, and I used 2 photos on this one and 1 journaling block. And the one in the background, I used 3 photos. You can also journal and put it on the back of your page if you're somebody who doesn't like to take up a lot of your page with journaling. I also use hidden journaling. If you go to the Scrapbooking Store Club, you'll see one of my layouts has, and I show the hidden journaling in it for October. And you can put, I don't put the ATGs like right in here or right in here, and I slide it through. I slide it underneath so it can come in and out. Okay, so I don't know why my iPad phone just rang, but it's my husband's iPad, so I'm going to yell at him. Okay, so journaling can go in the back of your 12 by 12 layout. It can go in the front of your 12 by 12 layout. It can be handwritten. It can be hidden. Your choice, but you should try to tell the story. It is important. I've looked back at some of my pages. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've looked back at some of my pages. It's like, really, you know, did I think I really was going to remember how old my grandsons were and all these? I thought so, but it's crazy. All right, so now, needless to say, that means I have a box of pages that I have to identify. So, okay, I'm going to put this down, and I just kind of put it in the middle. No, it didn't go on right. I put it down on the end, so why aren't I saying that to you? I put it right down on the end, right in the middle, and then pull it across. And the polka dots help you in this. If you have striped paper, it would help you too. You can use liquid glue on this. Again, I told you I love the ATG, so I will use it for everything and anything. So I lay it down towards the edge and just bring it across straight. And those polka dots really are helping here. I cut these ahead of time. I cut these out of this sheet of paper. And listen, I have to tell you, I have almost nothing left from this collection. I made 5 layouts and a set of artist trading cards. This is my 6th layout. In fairness, I did have to get a little bit of extra product to do this. Well, guess what happened? My ATG got a little bit jammed here. So now I'm going to use my liquid glue. Because I can't do 2 things at one time. So if I don't hold that at the right angle, it gets jammed. Okay. Nope, I'm going to use my liquid glue. I really like this liquid glue in case anybody wants to ask about it. It dries clear. It has this little point here. My sister-in-law got this for me, and it's my favorite. And this does not rust. You get the pins with it, and it does not rust when you put that in there. Dries pretty quickly, and but it's movable for a little period of time, and it dries clear, which we all like to look for. Okay, so here is what I call my base. It's my background. It's my photos, my bottom layer. Maybe I should call the base my bottom layer. And I decided to frame it out with a piece of the pattern paper in the collection. From here, now that you have something in front of you, it's like, how should I embellish it now? And you see how I embellished this one. I am going to do some of the same things, like this was in the collection, these gems, and I kind of like the idea of putting them in the corners, so I'm going to do that again here. It just made the frame pop a little bit. If you're going to hang this up, you might want to put a little drip of glue behind this. I know they're sticky, but I never like to take a chance if I'm going to hang them up on the wall. I'm not doing it here because I'm just demonstrating. Okay, from there, I think I'm using this title, and I'm going to put that down. That was from the cut file. That was offered free. And I'm going to lay it down, and let's see, what should I put? I think I'm going to use these. I'm going to use these because they're spider cookies, so here's spiders on here. So I think I'll put one of these down. And then I think I'm going to put another one down. I do use pop dots a lot and pop up things, but I'm going to do, I think I want to, have to move this down a little bit. I think I'm going to, we have these puffy stickers. They're dimensional. I like dimension, so I will be using some pop dots, but I think I'm going to tuck some of these here underneath or around. And I work in one area, and then I'll go back to that area and add things, but you've got your base, you've got your, your foundation. A foundation is another good word. And then you just can embellish around it. Okay, let's see what else. Now let's go to this corner. I think I'm going to use this up here, and I think I'm going to pop it up. I use pop dots a lot. Use every bit of this sheet. If you have not been doing this that long, never throw this away because it's hidden. In fact, I'll just even demonstrate how I do that for those that have never done that. I just cut a piece of the empty part, and you can use that also. And it doesn't show. Nobody's going to see it. I put it behind there, and I think I'll put that. My little grandson, you can't see that here, but he's starting to hold up the two fingers behind his brother's head like this. So in the cut file, and I am using it on this one, I did use it on this original one here, but there happen to be these two fingers. So I am going to use it in the same spot. Just because you wouldn't necessarily pick that up from my photo, but they'll get a kick out of it, that there happen to be two fingers there because the little two fingers are trying to come up in that photo. I really, really love these candy corn that were on here. I know there's a little bit of glare, but so I'm going to put them here on my journaling just to decorate it a little bit more. Add a little more visual interest to it. Okay, now I think I'm going to put this right here. I'll pop that up also. I mean, you can, sometimes I'll put something down, like I'll lay it down and I'll even put some glue on it, and then I'll go, no, I want that popped, and I'll pull it back up. Anybody else do that? I have this handy dandy tool here that was from Creative Memories like 20 years ago, but I think they still make it. And you can pull anything up that you've put down. It really does. You jiggle it underneath and it does loosen things real well. We laughed when we bought it, but it's one of the handiest tools that I have. Okay, so I'm putting the pop dots on the back of the word spooky. And I think I'm going to put it right here. I try to bring some balance all the way around, so it's not balanced over here yet, but as I'm working my way around the page, and then when I'm done, I will sometimes add things. Okay, what else? I think I'm going to put some things, these stars. I like these stars. I think I'm going to just tuck them around the word. I like layering. So I don't know if you can see, this is dimension and that's flat. Tiny one, because there were two of them, and I used one on this page here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I mentioned about this mat earlier that I'm working on that holds everything down, but you know, you can take sometimes I take my ATG gun and I'll put a little bit of the sticky underneath to hold it down, because nothing's worse than having your page move around. The ATG, when you use this tape runner and you put that down, you can roll it up with your finger and just throw it away when you're done. So that's nice too, because it's so nice when your page just stays in one spot. It makes it so much easier to figure out, you know, where you want to put things without constantly moving the paper. Is that straight? Is that not straight? I'm standing at a little bit of an angle, so I'm not sure if everything's straight. Believe me, when I'm done and we're all done with this Facebook Live, I will be checking that out, because if it's not perfectly straight, you know, I have to straighten everything out. Okay, now next I'm gonna work, I think, you know what, I really like these bats, and what I did with these bats to add dimension is I just put my finger in the center and I folded them a little bit, and listen, you put them in your book, yes, it flattens, but it still looks like it has dimension because it doesn't flatten all the way. And so I'm just going to put the liquid glue in the center so that it can stay up a little bit. Now, I have magnet boards, and I put my last 10 or 15 layouts up across my room, and I leave them up and before I put them away. I think I'm going to put that there. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think I might try one. I love these little houses. I wished I'd had more of the tree branch there, but I think I'll put this here. Now you have to take into consideration which cards you used. I have plenty of room for that one here, so I can overlap with the card. And I think I'm going to use this cat, and I think I'll pop up the cat. I like to kind of put dimension all around. Okay. Thank you everybody for coming and for watching this. Halloween is a fun time of year. It's fun to watch the joy in the kids' faces, and then it's fun to remember it while you're doing, you know, one of these memory pages. This collection came, and so I had to work with last year's. I looked up last year's, and it's fun because I usually work in the present instead of going back, but I just looked up my photos, and it was fun to remember this day that I babysat, because I'm not babysitting anymore. Their mom works different hours, so it was fun to remember what we did. Okay, I like that. And let's see, this is real plain here, so I think I want to use a cut file. I printed these on white cardstock, and I happen to have a brother scan and cut, so I just scan them in, and then the machine cuts them out. Well, they're making food, so this looks like maybe something like that. And what else could I put? Oh, how about this? A potion. A potion. All right, let's see. Maybe I'll put the potion low. Put that a little higher. Okay, here we go. We are almost done with this, I think. I don't think I need to pop. Well, yeah, maybe I'll pop that up. I was going to say, since the cat's popped up, this doesn't have to be popped up, but I like overlapping. I like layering. So I think that's a good idea. How about we do that? Okay. I think that I am done. Once I get all my things all around, I look it over. I decide whether I think it's balanced, whether it could use something else, but I think it's busy enough with the difference in the cards, and I don't want it to be, sometimes I do busy layouts, I'm fine with that. But now you can, when I put the 6 cards down, the photos and the cards, and then I framed it, I put the gems in the corners, and I created a base, a foundation for this layout. You can put a few things down or nothing. I mean, it was really perfectly fine like that, putting a title down, and you could be done. But adding some of the fun embellishments that come out over Halloween time really shows the fun, I think, in what the boys and I were doing on this day. Anyway, so let me hold this up to show you the finished layout. And it's a little bit different than the other one because I used different embellishments, the same style. And this one was different than the other one because I included the journaling on this, right on it. I typed it up ahead of time and matted it. And I think you can see all of it. I'll show you the other one, the original one. Similar style. No journaling because I included the photo that I got off Pinterest, but I really should include that story that I got that photo off Pinterest. So you can type up a little blurb or handwrite a little blurb and put it on the back of the page. Okay, let me turn the camera around so I can say goodbye and thank you for coming. And let's see, let me put this up. I hope you could all hear me. I'm sorry that the volume was a little bit low to start. I'm not sure why that was. Okay, let's see. Thanks so much, everybody. This is Marci, and we were designing for ScrapbookingStore.com with a wonderful October collection. If you have any questions or comments, I'm going to read this afterwards, and I'll be glad to answer. And I will say bye. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks a lot.